Tonight, heavy rain flooded roads in metro Atlanta and North Georgia as storms roll in ahead of Helene, and this is just the beginning. Good evening, and thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Jennifer Bellamy.
And I'm Jonathan Martin. In tonight for Ron Jones. All of North Georgia is now under a tropical storm warning. Let's get straight over to our chief meteorologist, Chris Holcomb, with the latest.
And this rain that we're experiencing right now is before Helene even gets here. We've been talking about this front moving in tonight, and that's what's giving us the round one of impactful rain. Very heavy rain, moderate to heavy rain moving through the metro Atlanta right now. We do have some thunder and lightning with it and gusty winds, and this is just the beginning as we have more heavy rain coming in tomorrow thanks to Helene. And as you mentioned, we now have a pretty major upgrade from a tropical storm watch to a tropical storm warning now that does include all of metro Atlanta and North Georgia. And then look just down to the south from Columbus to Macon, those red counties you see there down to the south, that's where there's a hurricane warning extending well into middle Georgia. And again, this tropical storm warning for metro Atlanta and North Georgia. This doesn't happen here that often. The last time we had tropical storm warnings issued was Zeta back in 2020. Here is the hurricane right now. It is a hurricane. Another major update. Instead of now landfall as a Category 3, Hurricane Center is showing this as a Category 4 tomorrow afternoon at landfall, most likely still a Category 4, still in that Big Bend region area. Then we watch it as a hurricane still near Columbus, becoming a tropical storm over Atlanta, then a tropical depression up into Tennessee. So that track still is moving through the metro Atlanta area. We will have a lot of impacts from it. It will be this weather impact alert all day here, Thursday and Friday. We're watching the rain, we're watching the wind, we are watching the storms, tropical storm force winds and flooding rain possible. So be sure, I know it's already raining out there. If you already haven't prepped your home, make sure your home is ready for more rain. Also, get some batteries, make sure that you have flashlights, make sure your phones are charged up because we're going to have a lot of trees down and we're going to have a lot of power outages. Stay with us. We're going to talk more about the timeline. We'll look at some of those specific winds coming into our area and those rainfall amounts in just a few minutes.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. As you mentioned, Thursday and Friday are the key days. We know Atlanta Public Schools and other metro districts are closed for both days, others making adjustments for the rest of the week. And if you look at the bottom of your screen, you will see the list of those schools and school districts, and you can check that for more information.
Less than an hour ago, Georgia Emergency Management asking people if you don't need to get out the next few days, just to stay off the roads.
We strongly advise the public to avoid non-essential travel as this storm approaches and allow evacuation orders to proceed if you get one from a local authority.
Well, since the storm is expected to hit during the night, GEMA encourages everyone to turn their alerts on loud enough to wake you up.
Well, Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens also spoke about the city's preparations for the storms moving through now and over the next few days. He says the city is more prepared than ever before.
We're opening a joint operations center tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Each department will have a representative right there, all looking at the same set of screens about weather patterns, looking at, street cameras to see what the street conditions are. Our non-essential employees will be working from home, and our essential employees will be out and about on the streets of Atlanta, making sure people are safe. So I'm not sweating it.
Mayor Dickens also says you can text the letters Notify ATL, all one word there, to 24639 to sign up for emergency alerts. It is right there on your screen. Again, it's Notify ATL 24639.
Well, tonight we have you covered to make sure that you are prepared. Angelina Salcido is in the Big Bend area of Florida. Molly Oak is in Cobb County. But first, let's start things off with 11 Live's Karis Belger as Georgia Power gears up for power outages across our area. Karis, what do those preparations look like?
Well, right now, a spokesperson with Georgia Power says that they have crews stationed across the metro and, in fact, across the state in order to help anyone who may need it. But also they are watching conditions very closely in case they need to adjust. They're also prepared to work with any of their partner companies in case things are a little more than they think they can handle. Matthew Kent with Georgia Power says crews have been tracking the formation of Helene for the last 3 days in order to strategically place their crews. And a lot of this preparation preparation includes constant communication with different counties and their emergency service departments. Now, since it's not clear what region specifically will be impacted the most with power outages, people in Metro Atlanta and beyond are encouraged to keep at least 3 days worth of supplies in case repairs are not able to be addressed immediately. However, I'm told Georgia Power is utilizing what it calls the smart grid, so crews won't have to travel to as many locations.
We have a smart grid so that if a portion of the grid were to go down, we're able to restore from another portion of the grid, perhaps someone's home that is not directly near a breakage. But every storm is different, so right now we are placing crews where we think the storm is going to not hit, where it will be safest, so that we can dispatch them as soon as possible.
And tonight, Georgia Power is officially opening its storm center so they can continue to track the path of the storm and also make sure resources are deployed wherever necessary. In Atlanta, I'm Karis Belger, 11 Alive News.
Karis, thank you so much. Now over to Cobb County, where we find 11 Alive's Molly Oak. Molly, I know DOT crews are working to clear drains, and they're also telling you this is all hands on deck.
Yeah, and that's why preparations are already underway. We followed around Cobb County DOT today to see how they were working ahead of Helene.
All of these roots and any of the debris just came out of that pipe system.
The skies may not be clear, but this pipe now is.
So we use a rudder hose from this back-on truck that kind of push water, force water in. It has a high-powered jet to pull the rest of the debris out to open up the drain system.
Demario Langford with Cobb County Department of Transportation says crews are working to get things ready ahead of the storm.
We go out and, we'll have either this vac-on truck or we'll have a crew with an excavator to come out and kind of dig out the open channel ditches. And that way we can get a good water flow and be able to not back up the streets and cause any flooding in our roadways.
He says they have emergency crews on standby along with people on the roads today.
It's important because with all of the storms and the water coming in, we don't want those systems backed up, and we don't want to potentially cause flooding on the roadways or in our neighborhoods or communities.
In hopes of keeping pipes and roadways clear ahead of the storm. What happens if something happens in your neighborhood? Well, I asked him just that, and he said the best way to get it reported is to use an app called See, Click, Fix. He says you just download it on your iPhone or Android, and that can put in a report, and he says usually the crews are out that day or the next. Reporting live in Cobb County, Molly Oak, 11 Alive News.
All right, Molly, thank you. And we have got heavy rain, flooding, and wind gusts ahead of us. And we do know that trees tend to topple over in those conditions. While arborists say it is too late to do much prevention now, here's what to do if a tree falls in your yard. You want to call a tree company or several so you can get some bids. You want to collaborate with your neighbors if part of the tree is in their property. Take pictures, and remember, it's dangerous to try and chop up the tree yourself. You want to leave that to the professionals. And arborists should be checking your trees every 2 to 5 years.